guys, Comic Boom here to finally give my review of Area 51, the Helix Project. This is a comic book it's from a Kickstarter campaign, and it's from Dark Knight Nation. And Dark Knight Nation has been very passionate about this project. Of course, I contributed to his Kickstarter campaign. I picked up, obviously, the first issue of Area 51. The green screen here of the Helix Project is interfering with the green on my Area 51 Helix Project shirt. You can see right through me. But I promise you, when you get the comic books in the mail, you will not be able to see through the comics as you can here. But let me tell you something. This is a great project. And Dark Knight Nation has a real name. I did not know this. Apparently, his real name is Trevor Fernandez Lankevich. Trevor Fernandez Lankevich. I practice in the mirror saying his name. You should too, because you know what? You don't even have to practice it, because I have a feeling it's a name you're going to remember, because this guy's an up-and-comer, and he's not just talk. You know, I'd really like to put Trevor Fernandez Lankevich in his place, but the guy knows how to write. And this is, for a first-time comic book, I have to say, I'm impressed here. And issue 2 of Area 51, the Helix Project, it's in the middle of its Kickstarter campaign. There's about 2 weeks left. I'm going to leave the link below for you guys to check it out. And certainly order, if you can, I know you can, order the first issue. Trevor will be happy to send it to you digitally. It's well worth it. And I'm going to be going through it here. And I'll leave the link to I'll leave the link to the Kickstarter page where you can find all the details on how to contribute to the Kickstarter. But also I'm going to leave a link to my previous advertisement where I'm promoting Area 51, both myself and some others. And I want you to give Area 51 Helix Project a look-see, because it's well worth it here. I got to tell you. Now, this is science fiction. It's from Pocket Watch Press, and that is Trevor's own publishing company, so good for him. And the artist here is a guy by the name of, let me get this right, because I always mispronounce these names. Marcelo Salazar is the interior and cover artist. And we're going to be going through some of the art. You're going to see how good it is. And the color artist is Marcio Freire, letterer by Taylor Esposito. And variant cover artist is Adrian Bone. And logo and interior design, Joseph Schweisler. See, I did screw up a name. Anyways, guys, let's get into this here, because this is character-based science fiction, shall we? Now, one of the things that really comes across here is because it's character-driven, you really get the perspective of the narrator here, and you could probably make some inferences as you read the story what the point of view character is, and it becomes quite clear here that this lead protagonist, this young man by the name of Kent, is feeling a little bit different, and you get a sense of it right away. And you know, the opening scene, and this is something that you see on the advertisement, that most people are just numbers, statistics, but most people reject it. Individuals, that's all they ever want to be. And this is a story in many ways about symbols and what symbols mean, and what happens if you can't, if you're feeling inadequate, or if you're feeling different, and especially if, as this comic book alludes to, what if you're not even from this planet? Now, young Kent doesn't know his origins, but he experiences a trauma when he's really young. He loses his dad in essentially a car accident, but not the type of car accident that you'd normally experience. You know, young Kent and his father actually ends up helping a young woman who's been involved in an automobile accident. Police show up on the scene, and well, it's quickly discovered that Kent's dad is somebody, well, he's different. He's different. So just like Kent always feels different from that traumatic event, what Kent witnesses that day, which ultimately results in the passing of his father, is something that stays with him his entire life. And this leads to so many questions. But leading up to this, though, I mean, look at the mood and the ambiance that the artist here, Salazar, uh, does such a great uh, rendering for. I mean, the sky. I mean, the skyline of New York. I mean, this looks absolutely gorgeous. This looks like, except this has a cinematic feel to it. The pages are gorgeous. And let me tell you something: when you have the comic book right in front of you, it looks even more gorgeous, and it's really really good. And what I like about this is you get a sense, you get a sense right away that this is New York City. And I love the Easter eggs. You see the super comics. You see right away. You see at the newsstand. You can see a homage to Action Comics #1 in 1938 Superman. instead of picking up the car, this hero's picking up the boulder. And just this is, if you're a comic book lover and you like science fiction, you're going to love these types of Easter eggs. And this is all surrounded with some pretty good character work. And Kent is essentially, he feels a little bit, you can tell he's a young man, but he feels a little bit, he doesn't feel like himself. He feels like he's missing something in his life. He feels out of place in New York City. And that's really what this story is about. It's about conflicts of identity, trying to discover who you really are and what you stand for. And even Kent struggles with his legacy because he's not even sure what or who his dad was, because he's got questions because of what he discovered about his dad on the day that his dad died. It's quite dramatic. And he's very very close to his mother. So one of the obvious analogies here, or homages, that takes place narratively, if anybody who reads comic books, you're right away going to think of, well, this reminds you a little bit of the Superman story, obviously. I mean, the character's name is Kent. It's hard not to draw some analogies. He's very very close to his mother, and he was very close to his father. And just like Superman's father died first, Kent's father dies first. But in this case, the person that's really different was the father. And if the father's really different, what does that say about the son? What legacy does that leave Kent? And what is the father's history? And in order to find out his own history, Kent needs to discover what his father's history is, as a way of trying to find out what his legacy is and what his identity is and where he's from, to try to find some meaning in his life and not feel lost. And one of the great the, there's always a series of there's great sequences here. There's one sequence where he's on the subway, and you can tell that you know Kent is he's a little bit cynical. He's cynical. He's, don't waste your time. He comes across some tourists visiting New York City. Don't waste your time. It's not any good. He's kind of cynical, and he's lost, and he's not in the best of spirits. And you get the sense that he's been that way through most of his childhood, a childhood that was largely lost following the death of his father. But you also get a sense of a strong sense of family. And you also get a sense that this was there's some signs that this was a religious family at one point. And you see pictures on the wall when he goes home, and he greets his mom. Right away you can tell that they get along quite well. They have a lot of rapport, and that he still misses his dad, and he still has these questions. And this really, in my view, it quite resonates with the reader. Now, one of the things that the colorist again, is Marcio Freire, does a really great job of. You get in the flashback sequences, which are really done in this sort of darker tone. So it's very obvious when you're getting a flashback to the past, and you get a sense that you get an eerie sense that something bad's going to happen, or something's bad has happened in the past, and it's really hammered home. And you get a sense that maybe that the reason why I said that, at least how I'm reading it, you get a sense that Kent, was religious, or had faith, had some kind of faith when he was younger. And it looks like a Roman Catholic faith, because as he's watching his dad ultimately engage in a very heroic act and reveal his true self, he's saying, the Lord's Prayer, "Our Father who art in heaven." And yet you get a sense that the older Kent, years after experiencing this trauma, he's lost his faith. He's lost his faith, and he's lost his way, and he's lost his identity. And he's ultimately trying to find it. And one of the things that he experiences is is that sense of fear. We Society tend to fear people who are different than we are, just like the police officer feared his own father, Kent's father, when despite the fact that Kent's father engaged in a very heroic act, saving a life, the fear of the police officer because Kent's father just looked different is something that would obviously have an impact on the character. Now, in many ways, this comic book does deal with some tropes, but it feels new and it feels refreshing, and it does them. It addresses them in a very powerful way through very powerful cinematic visuals, through some graphic suggestions of violence, even though it wasn't. It 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 is not overtly gory. It conveys just enough violence that you don't need to see all of it. I mean, even on the scene where Kent's father meets his ultimate fate, it's so beautifully rendered. You can see the terror and the horror, and this really, really works, and it has an impact on the reader. And as you get to the end of this fantastic opening issue, Kent is discovering that somebody wants to talk with him, and somebody wants to talk with him and about his past. And prior to that happening, Kent himself has been doing a lot of investigating himself because he wants to investigate the accident that led to the death of his father. And he goes through old newspapers and he discovers a number of things which he finds a little bit off. And when he gets a letter that says, "I was there the day they stole your soul, let's get it back. See you Sunday, I'll come to you." And whoever this mysterious person is, we're going to have to wait to the next issue to find out who that is. But this is really building up to something. And the great thing about this opening issue is that it ends on a cliffhanger. Because remember, guys, this is called Area 51, the Helix Project. And I got to tell you, this is really setting the stage. And so you have to be patient because while this is Area 51, the Helix Project, obviously you know from the title it's likely going to be dealing with aliens. It's likely going to be dealing with DNA because you can see the helix symbol, of course, in the helix name itself. So you know it's going to be aliens and DNA and likely probably some soldier program of some kind. But getting to that is a lot of character work. And this is the stuff that pays dividends to pull you into the story and want to know more about Kent. And that, there's that final page where you're in Area 51. Clearly there's some experimentation that's going on on an individual or an alien species of some kind. And it's really teasing that the Helix project is heating up. How exactly is Kent connected to it? How is Kent's father connected to this? I don't know, but I got all these questions. And even though Trevor is my friend, the guy is pretty tight-lipped in terms of telling me where the hell this is going. But what I love about it is I can go in multiple directions, and I got so many questions in terms of, who is the mysterious person that wants to meet with Kent? What's the agenda? What's the agenda of the government? I mean, we can maybe assume that it's nefarious, but is it? Lots of questions I have, and the great thing about it is that issue 2 is coming out. The Kickstarter is right now. We got 2 weeks left. Issue 2, I've seen some of the preview work. I mean, the cover here, it looks absolutely gorgeous. It's really heating up. We don't get any sense of what of these individuals that are looking for Kent are, but just the cover tease from issue 2, it looks like Kent is going to be captured and interrogated by a very powerful looking being of some kind, whether that's a metahuman or human or half alien or half breed, alien / human DNA crossbred entity species of some sort. I don't know, but I'm definitely in for this for the long haul. It's teased some other characters. I don't know who those 3 characters are on the cover of issue 2. I'm guessing one of them might be young Kent. Who are these other kids? Who's the guy with the gun? These are questions that I have, and I'm really looking forward to issue 2. And guys, this is Kickstarter. This isn't the big 2. This isn't Image. This is the quality of the stuff that you get when you order from a Kickstarter. And I got to tell you that the quality of the comic book here is really good. This is a really good quality. This is a better quality than put together comic book than anything you'll see from the big two. It's well put together, high gloss pages, beautiful, eye-popping art and colors. This is very good bang for your buck, and I sing its praises and give this project, this Helix project, your support. Get a digital copy of number 1, and certainly put your order in for number 2. I'm not sure. You'd have to talk with, you email Trevor. He's easy to email. I'll leave the link below. You can inquire at the Kickstarter if they got any extra issues of Area 51, issue 1. I'm not sure, but it's well worth a look-see. And even if it isn't, if they don't have any copies, it's well worth getting the digital copy to have. And even if you're just getting the digital copy of issue 2, do it. It's well worth it. I know Trevor's worked really hard on this, and it's, this is the stuff that I love to see. Passionate creators who don't just talk the talk, they walk the walk. And that is, that's Trevor Fernandez Linkevich. And I can't believe I said his name right. And if I didn't say his name right, he's going to let me know. But I think it's good. It's Linkevich. Mr. Linkevich. Anyways, guys, check out Area 51, the Helix Project. I think it's quite good. And guys, until next time, remember, have fun, read a lot of comic books, support Area 51, the Helix Project, and follow me on Twitter at Metropolis40. And check out some of the links I'm going to leave on top of the page here for their advertisements for Area 51, the Helix Project, and Comic Boom out.